Now, this asbestos mulch issue is at the point of farce, I'd say. 30 parks in the city of Sydney are closed. You've got 7 schools from Allambie Heights to Westmead to Mount Annan and Penrith that are shut because there could be asbestos in the mulch. St John of God Hospital at North Richmond. Woolworths at Kellyville, as well as a park at Wiley Park. Now, this is on top of, and I'm going to read out the sites because it just goes to show how widespread it is. Rozelle Parklands, Campbelltown Hospital, Victoria Park at Broadway, Belmore Park at Central Station, Harmony Park at Surrey Hills, Liverpool West Public, Nowra, train stations at Belmore, Punchbowl, Hurlston Park, Dulwich Hill, Canterbury, Campsie and Marrickville. It's like watching a COVID cluster grow or something like that. It's getting a bit silly. Now, look, don't get me wrong. This is not ideal. You can't have mulch that is contaminated with asbestos being dribbled around all parts and all corners of this city. But you've got to remember these are 50-cent sized pieces of bonded asbestos. We've got a country of almost 26 million people, and last year, 904 people were diagnosed with mesothelioma. Now, that's a lung cancer caused mainly by exposure to asbestos. That is 0.0003% of the population. 0.003% of the population. Now, asbestos dust is what causes mesothelioma, not pieces of the material that are being found in the mulch. Well, not unless they're properly disturbed. And you've got to put this into perspective. According to the Australian government, 1/3 of all homes in Australia contain asbestos products. If your house was built before 1990, it's likely that you've got asbestos in it. It can be in the roofing, in the gutters, the gables, the eaves, walls, vinyl, carpet and tile underlay, lining behind wall tiles, imitation brick cladding, fencing, sheds, splashbacks, window putty, expansion joints, packing under beams, concrete formwork, all potentially have asbestos in them. And up until the mid-1980s, Australia had one of the highest rates of asbestos use per person in the world. We mined for this stuff until 1984. Now, it's ubiquitous in Sydney. That's what I'm trying to get at. It is absolutely everywhere. And it is rightly banned, but 1/3 of all homes in the country have asbestos in it. It has to be handled properly, and it absolutely should not be ending up in mulch. But shutting schools and fencing off parks and the like kind of seems like overkill to me. Shouldn't the response just be based on, righto, what's the risk to health, rather than some public panic around it all? We should be calmly and methodically moving through it, replacing the mulch, and then moving on. And the only real question that needs answering here is, how did the asbestos get in the mulch? And I know we spoke to Ross Fox, the legal representative from Green Life Resource Recovery earlier in the week. Well, Ben Fordham had him on this morning and tried to get some clarity as well.
Has your client ever put asbestos in mulch?
No.
Has it ever had asbestos on site?
My client runs a type shift.
You've asked them the question. You've asked them, have you ever mixed asbestos with mulch?
Well, what we know is that there's a complex supply chain here.
But Ross, have you asked them the question?
What's important here is that
well, I think this is pretty important. This is the suggestion, and this is a line of inquiry, that asbestos has been mixed with mulch. The company you represent is the only company that's in the firing line here. Have you asked them the question? Have you ever put asbestos in the mulch?
My client does not put asbestos in mulch.
Righto. Well, this is what it boils down to, right? Did Green Life Resource Recovery throw asbestos into their mulch? Or is there some criminal conspiracy in the supply chain whereby asbestos is being dumped at landscapers at scale all around Sydney because simply the builders and all the rest of it find it too expensive to properly dispose of the asbestos? They're the only two options. That's what's going on here, one of those two. But we just need to stop and think. The health risk is almost zero, so the response surely needs to match that.